Hey everyone, real quick, before we get started on today's episode, I wanted to make a quick announcement. Fireside will be at the Rough Rider Ink and Iron Expo September 27th through 29th, 2019. That is in Fargo, North Dakota, where I have never been. Not only will we be podcasting, but I will be teaching my Find Your Style seminar. This is a revised seminar. It's completely, I've gone through the entire thing and kind of rebuilt it if you've ever seen the one that we did on YouTube a few years back. And it's focused entirely on helping you to identify and develop your own unique mark making in the tattoo world, to set yourself apart from everyone else instead of just stealing tricks, kind of identifying what people are doing and finding your own unique thumbprint to put on that. The seminar itself will be full of tips and tricks and exercises and practical things that you can plug in. I hope you can make it out there. If you're anywhere in the Fargo area, we would love to see you. If you're not in the Fargo area, make the trip. I'm making the trip. I've never been there before, and I hear they have a wood chipper, so that's cool. Thank you guys and enjoy the episode. There you go. We don't need it, but I'd love to do it.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to, actually,
yeah,
secretly.
All right.
I was hoping you'd ask me.
Welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast, the official podcast of the Fireside Tattoo Network. We're here at Evergreen Tattoo Invitational in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. The first time we were here. Have you done this show before?
No, this is my first year.
Okay.
This is freaking awesome.
It's beautiful outside. And the convention's actually a little bit slower than it was last year on Saturday, but I think it's because they're not used to this much sunshine. It's beautiful. It's like last year we were here, it was completely overcast and drizzly the entire time. There were a lot of people here because they wanted to be indoors.
Oh,
Today,
I like the rain.
You like the rain?
Oh, I love the rain.
Oh, you love this part of the world
Yeah,
then.
I know.
And you're from Minnesota.
Yeah. It's pretty cold back there right now. We got about 4 feet of snow, I think, and plus some. It don't leave.
Oh. By the way, this is Garrett Rautio.
Yeah.
Rautio.
Yeah.
It's like radio with a owl, like a southern drawl. Rautio.
It's Finnish, and happy St. Urho's Day.
Yeah, tell the story because they didn't hear the story of St. Urhos.
So us Finlanders, we have a really interesting sense of humor. Obviously, tomorrow would be March 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. Little town in Minnesota called Finlayson, believe it or not. They got jealous. I think it was like the 50s or 60s. I'm not too sure exactly.
There are a lot of Finnish people in Minnesota.
Yeah.
How did that work, I wonder?
I think it's a similar climate. Or maybe we were too dumb to keep going west. I don't know. Finlanders were dumb too, but we're funny.
Yeah.
So they got jealous of St. Patrick's Day. So they decided to create this character called St. Urho. And you can see him in a little bit of some of the smaller towns and stuff. He's this big, giant, Scandinavian-looking, full beard guy, and he's holding a pitchfork with a grasshopper on the end. And they created this story that he chased all the locusts out, that were that were killing the crops and stuff. But
in Minnesota or
I think in Finland.
Okay.
They
just invented it in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So this, we celebrated this in high school, and in northern Minnesota, a lot of Finns around, and they wanted their own parade, so they created this fictional character, and to one up the Irish. We did it a day earlier. So we run around, we're purple, eating grasshopper cookies and drinking clam chowder. I don't know, it's awesome. It's not real.
It sounds like a great tattoo, like a huge Finnish dude with
that's a good idea.
With a grasshopper on the end of a pitchfork.
Yeah.
You could do a whole flash sheet based on that.
I might next year.
Yeah. So we ran into each other at the kickoff party here for Evergreen, and got on the subject of tattooers and out. Well, we have a lot of weaknesses, a lot of them on the business side of tattooing. You run your own shop, is that right?
Yep. Black Coffin Tattoo.
Black Coffin.
Yep.
Yeah. And we said Minnesota, but what town?
St. Paul, technically.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you made a point that you think that tattooers have a real aversion to money in a lot of cases?
Yeah. One thing I try to drill in to the artists that I work with. Some of these people, they make it so, these artists, like, why you guys make it so hard? A customer wants to give you money. It's business 101. Business 101 is location, 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 right? Before that, if somebody wants to give you money, why are you making them jump through circles, hoops, and all this stuff? Somebody, everybody gets so upset about deposits and a lot of us tattooers, myself included, sometimes we have this, I don't want to say ego, but we have this attitude like the client owes us something. We're in a service business. You call it a craft, call it an industry, call it whatever you want. We're providing a service. We're providing a luxury. And I hate seeing tattooers, or any business for that matter, make it hard. Like, somebody wants to give you money, man, like, make it work.
Yeah. Give me an example of what you've seen, something maybe you've had to deal with your own artists in your own shop.
Obviously there's the not showing up for your appointments, which I don't.
The artist not showing up for their own appointments.
You got to email me here, and then I understand vetting clients. I get that, and it's different for different artists. Have different screening processes, but making people jump through these crazy circles and setting up, these consults.
You think that a lot of times, is it this kind of, this mentality that tattooers feel entitled to a certain level, like people should be doting on them and making every effort, like they're the girl that everyone wants to take to prom?
Yeah, what we do in the end, it really doesn't matter to anyone other than us. We're not changing the world. We're not curing cancer. Some of the awesome things that we do is we help people grieve with memorial tattoos. We give people a sense of beauty, somebody feels empowered by what we do. That's about the most important thing, I think, a couple of the most important things that we do. But in the end of the day, man, you're drawing skulls and roses. Don't take yourself so seriously, and don't be a dick to your clients. They remember that stuff. They want to give you money. They want to do business with you. Don't be a jerk.
I used to work with a guy, and I won't use any names, but it's like tattooing was the last thing he wanted to do. He actually we worked in a custom shop, and he actually left our shop for a street shop because he hated homework, the idea of homework so much. He didn't really love to draw, which should be the first red flag for anyone that's a tattooer, if you're not just drawing because it's what you love to do. He didn't love to draw. Maybe he was just over it. But, the front desk person would come back into our drawing room and say, hey, someone's out here and they want to talk about a tattoo. And instantly you see it come over his face. Okay. And he walks out. And the person, they're nervous. Tattoo shops are we talk a lot on the show about how intimidating tattoo shops really are. And it's easy to forget when you're just walking into your own shop every day. But just walk into any shop here tonight in Eugene and tell me, even as a seasoned tattooer, you don't get a little heart flutter. It's like, it's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
And these people come in and they nervously show him what they want. And this was his response. Yeah, you can't really do that. That's it.
Yeah.
No offer of what you could do, not why you can't really do it. Just, you can't really do that.
Been tattooing too long, then I guess it's time to get out of the game.
Right.
You hate it that much.
Yeah.
Client interaction is extremely important, especially today with Google reviews, Yelp, Facebook reviews. That stuff can make you and break you. And if you interact with the client in a negative manner, one bad review will drop you. Some artists don't care. Me as the shop owner, that's my most important thing. Artists don't care. It's not their shop. Oh, what's one bad review? We all know there's no difference between a 5-star and a 4.7 star, or even a 4.5 and a 3-star. We know that. It's one or two pissed off customers. There's a lot of tattooers. At least in Minnesota, there's a lot of freaking tattooers out there. They don't.
What is it? The same. Minneapolis, St. Paul is. They're kind of considered one city, right?
Yeah. Out of state, they're considered one city.
Okay.
Interstate.
Okay. So what's the population? What is the tattoo culture like?
I couldn't tell you the population.
Okay.
The tattoo culture is interesting because it's a flyover state for a lot of places. The cool thing about Minnesota, I learned this from a gentleman by the name of Tom Strom.
Yeah.
He loves tattooing people in Minnesota because our skin is so white. We're not out in the sun. We're not
Yeah.
baked. It's prime skin. So there's a lot of diversity. There's God, I couldn't even tell you, maybe 100 shops. It's very dense with shops. The majority of them, 99%. There's a bunch of great shops. It's awesome. There's a lot of different styles. It doesn't seem to be this West Coast, East Coast thing. We're right in the middle, so we got everything, which I think is pretty common, even some of the larger cities now, regardless of the, East, West Coast. So you got to be diverse.
Yeah. My thought, and I've never been to Minnesota, but I just think if you're not showing a lot of skin, obviously you probably do have nice skin to tattoo, but most tattooers would tell you that they're busier in the summer because people see tattoos more in the summer, and it reminds them that they like to get tattoos. And when you're in a place where people are wearing heavy coats, how many months out of the year? 10? 9?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
All the months? Yeah, all the months out of the year.
It seems like it.
It seems like it would be difficult to make a name as a tattooer. People aren't seeing tattoos.
The thing is, with Minnesota, our summers are pretty short. We've got swimming weather, maybe 3 months out of the year, from June to the end of July, maybe August. And what's interesting is because our summers are so short, during the summer, we're always outside. We're always out on the boat, and if you're healing a tattoo, if you got an ongoing project, that's 3 weeks each time that you got to stay out of the water and out of the sun and stuff, assuming you're healing it right. Yeah. So the winters, in theory, are a better time. They're definitely a better time to get tattooed. But everybody wants it in the summer because skin's out, sun's out, tats out. So.
Right. One of the luxuries that I've gained over the years is that doing big projects, I can work through the winter and focus on a lot of big projects through the winter and slow down on some of those projects during the summer. But I know starting out doing walk-up tattoos that it was really. It was always a struggle with, you need to make, in the South, in the deep South especially, you need to make ends meet. You've been sitting 3 days and you haven't done a tattoo. Someone walks in, they want something, you finally get to make a little money and you realize they're sunburned. Like, you touch the needle of the skin, they start bleeding, acting crazy. You're like, oh, I can't even do this tattoo.
We'll try it. You might have to come back for a touch-up.
Yeah.
Which you're going to pay for.
Right. And that's something that you don't deal with at all probably in Minnesota. Huh?
Well, our skin's so pale up there. It don't take much for us to sunburn, You just stick your arm outside the car and, it gets burnt.
You mentioned that you focus, and I did flip through your portfolio before we started just to familiarize myself. You focus primarily on black and gray, kind of a stylized realism. You want it to look believable, but still kind of stylized, illustrative a little bit. What do you consider your influences mainly, and what's your goal as a tattooer?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm really big into Stephen Gamel, who is did the artwork for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's kind of a recent thing in the past year or two. I've really been trying to put some of that looseness in my work. But while I love realism, I love, I used to do realistic portraits, or try to. I found that there's a lot of people that can do it a lot better than me. Which is great, Bob Tyrell. There's only one of him. I'm not going to beat him. I don't want to. I guess I wanted to do a little bit more my style. I saw some old tattoos that Mr. Don Nolan, who has recently passed, he did these Black Lotus. It's some band. He did these killer portraits, and they had these fat outlines, and I was like, man, that stuff's awesome. So I started kind of slowly implementing that, using a high contrast. I'm not afraid to put a line in a portrait. A lot of people don't get it, I guess, but it's unique. So I guess that's where I'm trying to go with it, trying to develop a style that's, kind of my own. I can't be Bob Tyrell, so I'm going to be me.
Yeah. What do you find as a black and gray tattooer are the biggest struggles? I tell you, I see people like I'm blown away these days by some of the black and gray realists, particularly people like David Vega, who are doing these really, really subtle, soft grays. And I've always, because I've seen my tattoos from 20 years ago, I've seen them heal and I've seen them age, I've always really pushed contrast. I've never been one, like, whenever when people sell grayscale sets that have 6 or 7 grays in them, I'm like, I don't need 6 or 7 grays, it's too many. But now I see some of these guys using these really, really soft grays and doing it super effectively without really irritating the skin. That we were talking to Pooch last night about some of his soft color work, and he was like, I'm running my machine so slow it barely runs, and I'm barely
with a 7 around.
Yeah, barely like grazing the skin. And what, as someone that's focusing on black and gray, which is easy to get beat up, easy to look, irritated, harder to get, consistent blends than packing opaque colors.
Yeah.
What do you find that you're challenged with most? And if you were to offer any advice to up and coming black and gray tattooers, what would it be?
I think I'm a firm believer in whatever you cut with. If you mix your own, I hate the idea of pre-mixed. But
why is that?
I was just always taught the drop method. And if you do the drop method, the mix that you use is extremely important. Certain black ink will cut well with distilled water. Certain ink will not. Can I give a recipe?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Go
cool.
for it.
So I found this really interesting cut. I kind of stumbled across it. I use there's 4 parts to it. It's 1 part Grey Goose vodka, 1 part witch hazel.
Yeah.
1 part.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm totally serious.
Grey Goose vodka?
Oh yeah.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
If you ever get stranded in the car, you can drink it.
All right.
In a blizzard.
1 part vodka, 1 part Grey Goose.
Grey Goose. It's triple filtered.
Okay. Is that for real?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. That's what I think it is. Anyway,
right.
so 1 part Grey Goose vodka.
Yeah.
1 part witch hazel. 1 part glycerin, and 1 part distilled water. The glycerin.
You're mixing these in like a Nalgene bottle or something? Or what
No, I use like a 2 or a 4 ounce bottle or something like that. Certain inks you're going to have to play with your inks and stuff. I'll even use it to cut down the premixes. The glycerin, I believe, acts as a binding agent, and if you rub it in your fingers, it's super silky. I'll bring some over, and you can it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I found that really it smoothed my stuff out a lot. That as well as big mags. I know some of the best guys in the world are using these 5 mags just skimming. I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah.
I wish I did. But big mags and this mix, it really helps. I encourage you to try it.
What about your actual inks, your blacks? Do you find that there's a huge difference from one manufacturer to another?
Yeah. I've been doing black and gray for quite a while. I'm by no means a master at it. There was one time I looked in my ink drawer, and I think I had 22, 23 different versions of black or some subtle variation
You had
of gray.
20 plus versions?
Yeah, which, I tried a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe didn't try them properly, but right now I'm really into dynamic for the solid black. And then I am a big fan of Empire's wash.
Yep.
Normally I would make my wash my own, but I found that this mixed stuff that I make, it's perfect with Empire. It blends. I don't know how well it works with dynamic, but yeah, it's silky.
You're mixing it into the pre-mixed Empires?
Sometimes, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. One thing I would do is I would take just get the medium Empire, which is actually pretty dark as it is, and I would use that as my darkest, not my black, but my darker tone,
gray.
and then I would use that as my cut. And you do the 3, 5, 7, whatever you're doing. One thing that I would like to say is be consistent with your ink caps. If you're using a number 14, because when you switch from a 14 to a 17, your 3-drop is no longer a 3-drop. It's diluted a little bit. But yeah, that's what I found. Big mags and I heard an interesting thing today. I think it was on Facebook. It was a meme or something. And somebody said tattooing's like sex. They were wondering the difference, how to approach a black and gray tattoo versus a color tattoo. They said, well, tattooing's like sex. And at first I read that, and I'm like, oh, the longer you do it, the better you are. No, that's not what they said. They said black and gray is like caressing and kissing and making out and rubbing and heavy petting, and color is more like getting behind them and pulling their hair and just going to town. So, yeah, I guess being a little soft.
True.
I don't do either. So. But, yeah.
Well, that's interesting that you're mixing. I actually use the exact same blacks. People are always telling me like, oh, you should try this black. Ty does he uses a new machine and a new ink for every tattoo that he ever does, and and so
he's rich.
He's rich, and so he's always telling me like, oh, you got to try this black or try this whatever, but I come back to Dynamic over and over. It's just like $3 cheaper than the next one, and it works great. I've been using it for years and years, and I recently was just given a set of Empires, and I just love the actual the bottles.
Yeah,
I
they're
love the
flight
bottles.
safe. They're a little big.
Yeah.
To fly, but they are, I think, air safe or whatever.
Yeah, so they won't blow up on you on the plane or whatever. I've been using both of those for so long. I did the same. I always mix my own gray washes, and whenever when I first saw years ago that pre-mixed grays were coming out, I was like, what is this like?
It's such a
garbage they're
hassle.
trying to sell?
4 bottles, like, come on, I got other things to do.
Yeah. But as I moved into bigger and bigger pieces and even larger grayscale, the consistency
it's very important.
is there.
Yep.
And I do I've memorized it well enough now to know what the medium versus the extra light looks like in the skin. So if I'm working and even healed in the skin, so if I'm pulling back into something that I worked on a month ago, I can look at it and go like, oh yeah, I used the extra light there, and I used that there. So I have to have myself using it more.
Unless
and more.
you cross dip, which of course we all do, and then that creates its own blend. But and that's why I think if you do mix, if you're using the 1, 3, 5, 7, whatever you're doing, it's important to be extremely consistent with it. Like, measure the drops, get the meniscus on the top of that cap, like get it exact. 2 or 3 drops of different mix, or the cut. That changes things. But it's kind of just easier to use a premix. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do like Empire a lot.
Yeah, me too. Well, if somebody wanted to keep up with you, get tattooed, do you travel much for conventions or no?
Yeah. So last year, this is kind of interesting. I've been doing this for 18 years. I've got an awesome shop, awesome crew.
How many tattooers at your shop?
There's 11 now.
Oh wow, it's a big shop.
Yeah, it's a fun shop. Like, I kind of run it like Uber. You want to work? Come on in. I want people to have fun.
So everyone has their own. Are you doing booth rental? Are you doing commission splits? Or a little bit of both?
Commission, okay. Yeah. But I take a really low percentage. I'm a firm believer in order to have a happy shop. I'm not doing this to make a killing. I'm doing it to make a living. I want happy artists. They motivate me. I don't want to be a boss. I'm not their boss. I work with them. They work with me. Mm-hmm. We're on the same page. I take a lower cut. I treat them good. I think I do. Mm-hmm. So I think there's something to be said for that. Like everybody, make your money, man. If I have a happy crew, I'm going to have happy clients. I'm going to have happy everything, and the money will come, man. I ain't worried about that. I'm having a good time. Yeah. Life's too short to worry about $1, Yeah. But even that gets a little stressful at times. So I found myself very stagnant. I've been tattooing in the same area for 18 years. I started becoming that guy that hated tattooing. Like, I was that guy for a minute. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to talk to anybody about anything, and that ain't right. I always told myself, the day that this becomes a job, it's time to find a new job, because this is not a job. This is fun.
It's not something you can phone in.
No,
It didn't have any longevity.
Not. Yeah. So I told myself, you know what? I hated traveling. I get all sketchy and weird and paranoid and just nervous wreck. But I started traveling last year. I'm uncomfortable with it, but I needed to get out. I needed to mix it up a little bit. I started getting stagnant and just felt like I was regurgitating everything. this show here, I've wanted to do this show for 6 freaking years. When they sent out
Oh,
that
yeah.
little finger, dude, I was
Yeah.
like, man, I want one of them
Yeah,
so
yeah,
bad. So this show is like the highlight of my career.
Yeah.
And this show,
Yeah.
it's another highlight of my career
Oh,
for
well,
sure.
thanks, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I love this show as well. I really do. I'd heard a lot about it and just happened to meet Riley in North Carolina.
Such a cool dude.
Just just completely by chance. And then he mentioned that he ran Evergreen. I was like, oh, I've heard of that. I thought that was Joshua Carlton's thing. He's like, yeah. And mine.
Yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah.
I only knew Josh.
The
But
Idaho Fest is 208 is really cool too.
You've done it too.
Yeah.
So you've only for the last year been traveling.
Yeah.
Do you think it's reinvigorated you?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, because I love my crew and stuff, but I get out of the shop once a month. It gives me something to look forward to. I'm doing 1 show a month for the most part. There's a couple months where I'm doing 2. There's a month where I'm not doing any. I just need to get out. I don't want it to be a job. I love what I do, and I want to stay in love with it. Sometimes you got to mix it up, man. Like you feeling grounded or feeling in a ditch. You wake up every day doing the same thing. You want and change. Guess what? Nothing's gonna change. So, yeah, I'm out here. I love it. Putting myself out there, challenging myself. Getting out of the shop is a good thing. It's a really good thing.
What are you doing to promote yourself, or have you learned well enough yet what's working, what's not, to be able to tattoo at the shows?
I'm still figuring that out. I know there's a lot like capturing attention, getting when people walk by there's tricks to it. Having shit eye level and being appealing.
Having drawings ready
Yeah,
to go?
that's the big one. You got to be approachable. I'm one of those guys. I was one of those guys. If I see someone look at my portfolio, I turn around. I'm like, man, they're judging me.
Yeah.
You gotta approach these people. Hey, good morning. How are find out what they're here for. People will. You can tell if someone's interested in what you got. They're sitting there for a second. Approach them. I think having a counter helper is huge. It's huge. Some of the smaller shows you don't need it, but someone to promote you is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It helps if they look like Emily or Robin or someone and not like us.
Yeah,
It
no,
makes
that
it a lot
works
easier.
so good for me.
But
I have to give out free tattoos this weekend.
No doubt. So if that's one thing that we push a lot. You don't have to. It is important that we learn to be a little more extroverted, because a lot of tattooers or a lot of artists in general are not. They're very introverted, and you need to at least be able to have some sliver of bedside manner is important. But if that's not your strong suit, bring your wife with you, or bring like the shop assistant, as someone that can like break the ice. Because a lot of times, you're exactly right. You'll find people that are sitting there at your book, and they flip through the same page 3 or 4 times. So obviously they're there for a reason, and you like fiddling with your machine. You're not doing anything to
looking
help.
on your phone.
Right,
playing
yeah,
video
exactly.
games,
Like buried in your iPad, like, oh, I'm drawing. That makes them think, oh, he's already drawing for something.
Yep.
And if that's your defense mechanism, your money's walking, or not just money's walking away,
Yep.
but opportunities are walking away.
Yep.
The opportunity to do a great tattoo, the opportunity for tattoo of the day, the opportunity for any number of relationships.
And I think, like when you're out doing these shows, if it's your first year at said show, maybe be a little quiet, it's okay. Build those contacts and make those connections, and hey, how are you? And bring stickers, for crying out loud. People love swag.
Yeah.
Get cards. And they're going to remember you next year. I just did Philadelphia for the first time, and I've already got stuff lined up for next year. It's cool. You just got to put yourself out there a little bit. If you're scared, I get it. Go have a beer, whatever. But you got to be out there. If you're just sitting behind your booth, nobody gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
Be approachable.
Yeah.
Be friendly.
Absolutely.
Tell them a joke.
So where do people go if they want to find you? What's your next show?
God, I don't think I think Kansas City or. There's a local one in Minnesota.
Do you keep up on your website, on your Instagram, with where you're going to be?
Yeah, I've got 2 Instagrams. I'm trying to create this new persona so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's with the new persona?
Well,
Is
I
it-
kind of want a Jekyll and Hyde thing, like. So when I'm Garrett Rautio, I'm back at the shop. Like everyone's, oh, I know that guy.
Are you going to come up with a handle for your other persona?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Coffin Lust.
Coffin Lust.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to go as?
That's what I'm going
Lust.
as. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
it's like the same Instagram page.
I
just
like
post
the sticker you left for me, putting the fun back in funeral.
Yeah,
That's good.
I gotta, I don't take life too seriously.
Yeah.
You gotta have a little fun. People
Yeah.
love the sticker and
Yeah.
the merch and stuff. I couldn't bring merch out here this year, but
Yeah.
I've got. So the shop is Black Coffin. I made friends with some funeral directors. I call them my funeral friends.
Yeah.
And the majority of the shop is decked out with chandeliers from them and embalming machines. I've got like 3 caskets, 2 coffins. So a lot of our decor it's peaceful. It's nice, you know.
So it's a like a last rites kind of environment. Is it super dark?
No.
Not like that?
No. It's not creepy. It's
Okay.
it's not creepy. We get little old ladies coming in, you know, and they're in, you know, they don't know what to think, and they get in like, oh, this is actually really nice. So, you don't want to be too extreme. You don't want to have blood and guts and zombies or nothing like that, man. Like, that's a big turnoff. Like, it was 2000, you know.
Right.
It was fun, but no, not for our shop. We do a lot of walk-ins, and we want to keep it a comfortable vibe. A little
dark,
uncomfortable,
but not super, not scary.
cozy. Yeah, cozy.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So at Coffin Lust on Instagram.
Yep, Coffin Lust, and then Black Coffin Tattoo, as well as Garrett Rautio. I'm not going to spell it for you.
We'll put it in the show notes so
yeah.
people will know. But,
And that's where I'm at.
Happy, what's the day?
St. Urho Day.
Happy St. Urho Day. Everyone, happy St. Urho Day. Thank you, as always, for supporting what we do. Thank you, Garrett.
Thank
and
you.
We'll link to Garrett's portfolio, and you can keep up with where he's going to be if you want to check him out, get tattooed, or go check out his coffins and chandeliers at the shop.
Hey, I do have one shout out.
Oh, who is it?
Amigo the Devil.
Amigo the Devil.
Yeah, awesome music.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Amigo the Devil.
Okay.
That's not enough shout-outs to do a shout-out counter. I've got a shout-out. Evan Qualls, the king of the shout-outs.
Joshua Carlton, Riley Smith.
And Joshua Carlton and Riley Smith for hosting us. We really
My
appreciate
daughter
it.
Ivy, who's going to be apprenticing soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Apprenticing your kid. That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Check back in another 5 years. We'll see how that goes.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.